The world we know today is built upon the ruins of civilizations that disappeared thousands of years ago. Beneath oceans, buried under deserts, and hidden inside forgotten mountains, there are discoveries that challenge everything we thought we understood about human history. Ancient people left behind enormous temples, mysterious symbols, impossible engineering, and stories that continue to confuse scientists even after centuries of research. But what if some of the greatest secrets of our past are not lost forever, but simply waiting for someone to uncover them? From an ancient language no one can read, to massive stone structures that seem impossible for their time, these mysteries reveal a forgotten chapter of humanity. And the deeper we search, the more questions appear. Who built these wonders? Why were they created? And what secrets did ancient civilizations take with them into the darkness of time? Thousands of years ago, on the island of Crete in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, a civilization flourished that would become one of the most fascinating cultures of the ancient world. They were known as the Minoans, named after the legendary King Minos, a ruler connected to myths of labyrinths, monsters, and forgotten kingdoms. But behind the legends was a real civilization that created powerful cities, enormous palaces, advanced artwork, and a trading network that stretched across the ancient world. At the height of their power, the Minoans were unlike any other society of their time. Their cities contained complex buildings, colorful paintings, advanced drainage systems, and evidence of a highly organized culture. Their famous palace at Knossos remains one of the most impressive archaeological discoveries ever made. Yet despite everything we have learned about the Minoans, one mystery continues to stand between modern researchers and the complete story of this lost civilization. A mysterious writing system known simply as Linear A. Thousands of clay tablets and inscriptions containing these strange symbols have survived for more than 3,000 years. These ancient writings record the daily life, economy, religion, and possibly the beliefs of the Minoan people. But there is one problem. Nobody knows what they say. Unlike Egyptian hieroglyphs or the later Greek writing system, Linear A has never been successfully translated. For generations, historians, linguists, and archaeologists have studied these symbols, searching for patterns and hidden meanings. Some symbols appear familiar because Linear A influenced the later Linear B script used by the Mycenaeans. But the language behind these symbols remains completely unknown. It is as if an entire civilization left behind thousands of messages, yet humanity is unable to hear their voices. The mystery becomes even more frustrating because Linear B, the writing system that replaced Linear A, was successfully decoded in the 1950s. Researchers discovered that Linear B recorded an early form of Greek used by the Mycenaean civilization. This breakthrough allowed historians to understand the administration, economy, and social structure of mainland Greece. But Linear A remains silent. The Minoans disappeared, their cities declined, and their language vanished with them. Around 1450 BC, the Mycenaeans from mainland Greece began influencing Crete. Over time, their cultures merged, and Linear B replaced Linear A. Eventually, the Minoan identity faded into history. Then, around 1200 BC, disaster struck the Bronze Age world. Across the Mediterranean, powerful kingdoms collapsed. Cities were destroyed, trade networks disappeared, and ancient civilizations entered a period of chaos. The exact cause remains debated. Some researchers believe earthquakes, climate change, invasions, or economic collapse played a role. Others suggest that multiple disasters combined to bring an end to the Bronze Age. But the Minoans left behind one final mystery: their own words. Hidden inside those undeciphered symbols could be answers to some of history's greatest questions. They could reveal what the Minoans believed, how they governed their cities, what happened during their decline, and perhaps even why their civilization disappeared. Until Linear A is finally understood, the Minoans will remain one of history's most mysterious civilizations. But the secrets of the ancient world are not only hidden in forgotten languages. Sometimes they are buried deep beneath the ground. In Turkey, beneath the rocky landscape of Cappadocia, lies a place that seems almost impossible. A city carved entirely underground, stretching deep into the earth. Its name is Derinkuyu. Unlike ordinary ancient settlements built on the surface, Derinkuyu was constructed beneath the ground. Hidden tunnels, massive chambers, underground rooms, storage areas, churches, kitchens, and ventilation shafts extend through multiple levels. The city reaches nearly 18 stories below the surface and was capable of sheltering thousands of people. For centuries, this underground world remained hidden. Then, in 1963, a local resident accidentally discovered it while renovating his home. After breaking through a wall, he found a mysterious passage leading into darkness. What appeared to be a simple hidden room opened into a vast underground network that nobody knew existed. Archaeologists soon realized they had uncovered something extraordinary. Derinkuyu was not just a collection of tunnels. It was a carefully designed underground city created for survival. Massive circular stone doors could be rolled into place to block entrances from attackers. Narrow passages forced enemies to move slowly. Deep wells provided water, while ventilation shafts allowed fresh air to circulate throughout the city. But one question remains. Why was such a massive underground city created? Some historians believe the earliest parts of Derinkuyu may have been constructed by the ancient Phrygians around the 8th century BC. Later, early Christians expanded and used the city as a refuge during periods of persecution and conflict. When armies invaded the region, thousands of people could disappear beneath the earth, taking supplies, animals, and essential resources with them. The underground city became a hidden world beneath another world. But the scale of Derinkuyu raises a deeper mystery. How did ancient people design such a complex structure without modern technology? How did they remove millions of tons of volcanic rock? How long did construction take? And were there other underground cities still waiting to be discovered? Cappadocia contains hundreds of underground settlements, suggesting Derinkuyu was not an isolated achievement. Perhaps beneath the landscapes we walk across today, there are forgotten worlds still waiting in silence. Across the planet, ancient civilizations left behind countless mysteries. Some are hidden in languages. Others are hidden beneath stone and soil. But perhaps the strangest mysteries are those that appear to challenge our understanding of what ancient humans were capable of achieving. In Lebanon, standing high above the Bekaa Valley, lies the ancient site of Baalbek. To many historians, Baalbek is already an incredible archaeological wonder. The Romans transformed it into a magnificent religious center known as Heliopolis, building enormous temples dedicated to Jupiter, Bacchus, and Venus. But beneath the Roman ruins lies an even older mystery: the stones. Some blocks at Baalbek are among the largest ever used in ancient construction. Massive stones weighing hundreds of tons were cut, shaped, and placed with incredible precision. The famous trilithon stones are enormous limestone blocks measuring more than 20 meters long and weighing hundreds of tons each. Even today, moving such massive stones would require advanced machinery. So how did ancient builders accomplish this thousands of years ago? Traditional historians believe ancient engineering techniques, combined with enormous human labor, were responsible. But the exact methods remain debated. How were these stones transported? How were they lifted into position? And why did ancient builders choose blocks of such incredible size? The mystery of Baalbek has inspired countless theories. Some suggest lost technologies. Others believe ancient civilizations possessed engineering knowledge that has disappeared over time. While many extraordinary claims remain unsupported, one fact cannot be denied. The ancient world was far more complex than many people once imagined. The civilizations of the past were not primitive. They observed the stars, built cities, created advanced systems, and solved engineering challenges that continue to amaze researchers today. And these are only the first pieces of a much larger puzzle. From silent languages carved into clay, to underground cities hidden beneath mountains, to giant stones placed with impossible precision, humanity's ancient past is filled with questions that refuse to disappear. Every discovery opens a new door, and behind every door is another mystery waiting to be solved. The ancient world was not a simple age of primitive people struggling to survive. Across continents, civilizations rose with knowledge, creativity, and abilities that continue to surprise modern researchers. They built enormous monuments, crossed dangerous oceans, created advanced cities, and left behind clues that tell only part of their story. But some discoveries are so unusual that they force us to question what we truly know about the past. Hidden beneath deserts, buried beneath cities, and forgotten beneath centuries of silence, these mysteries continue to challenge historians and archaeologists around the world. One of the most extraordinary mysteries of the ancient world lies in the heart of Egypt, where a lost city disappeared beneath the waters of the Mediterranean Sea. For more than 1,000 years, Thonis Heraklion was nothing more than a legend. Ancient Greek and Egyptian texts described a powerful port city located near the mouth of the Nile River. It was a gateway between Egypt and the Mediterranean world, where merchants, sailors, and travelers gathered from distant lands. Ships carrying gold, spices, precious stones, and exotic goods passed through its harbor. The city was not only an economic center, but also a religious one. A magnificent temple dedicated to the god Amun stood there, where Egyptian pharaohs were believed to perform important ceremonies. The Greeks called the city Herakleion, believing that the legendary hero Heracles had once visited the land. For centuries, historians debated whether the city had ever truly existed. Then, in the early 2000s, everything changed. French underwater archaeologist Franck Godiot and his team began searching the waters near Abu Qir Bay. Using advanced sonar technology, they discovered something hidden beneath layers of mud and sand. A forgotten city. Thousands of years earlier, Thonis Heraklion had sunk beneath the sea. Beneath the waves, archaeologists found massive statues, temple ruins, inscriptions, jewelry, coins, and entire sections of the ancient city preserved in remarkable condition. The discovery revealed that the legendary city was real. But another mystery remained. Why did it disappear? Researchers believe a combination of natural disasters caused its downfall. Rising sea levels, earthquakes, and soil instability may have weakened the land until the city slowly collapsed into the Mediterranean. A city that once connected civilizations was swallowed by the ocean. Yet beneath the waves, it remained frozen in time. The discovery of Thonis Heraklion reminds us that history is not always lost. Sometimes it is simply hidden. But Egypt holds another mystery, one that may involve one of its most famous rulers. Deep inside the tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun lies a question that has fascinated researchers for decades. Could the tomb contain a hidden chamber belonging to Queen Nefertiti? When Howard Carter discovered Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922, the world was amazed. Inside were thousands of priceless artifacts, including the famous golden mask of the young pharaoh. But some researchers believe the tomb itself holds a secret. Egyptologist Nicholas Reeves proposed that Tutankhamun's burial chamber may not have originally been created for him. According to his theory, the tomb may have belonged to the powerful Queen Nefertiti, who ruled during one of Egypt's most controversial periods. Nefertiti was one of the most influential women in ancient Egyptian history. She ruled alongside Pharaoh Akhenaten during a time of religious revolution when Egypt abandoned traditional gods and focused worship on the sun disk Aten. After Akhenaten's death, much of his legacy was erased. Temples were destroyed, his name was removed from monuments, and the period became one of the most mysterious chapters of Egyptian history. But Nefertiti's final resting place has never been found. Inside Tutankhamun's tomb, researchers noticed unusual features. Some paintings appeared to have been modified, with traces suggesting earlier artwork existed beneath the surface. Could this mean Tutankhamun's tomb was actually a smaller entrance leading to a larger hidden burial complex? If Nefertiti's tomb lies behind the walls, its discovery would be one of the greatest archaeological events of the modern era. A queen who vanished from history could finally tell her story. But until those hidden chambers are confirmed, the mystery remains locked behind stone. Thousands of miles away, another ancient mystery stretches across the desert landscape of Peru: the Nazca Lines. In one of the driest places on Earth, the ancient Nazca people created enormous designs carved directly into the desert ground. These mysterious geoglyphs include animals, geometric shapes, and hundreds of straight lines stretching across the landscape. Created between approximately 500 BC and 500 AD, the Nazca Lines cover an area so vast that many designs can only be fully understood from the sky. There are giant images of hummingbirds, spiders, monkeys, whales, and strange human-like figures. But why were they created? That question has puzzled researchers for nearly a century. Some scientists believe the lines were connected to astronomy, marking important events involving the sun, moon, and stars. Others suggest they were religious pathways used during ceremonies and rituals. The ancient Nazca people may have walked along these enormous designs as part of spiritual journeys, connecting the earth with their beliefs about the universe. But the greatest mystery remains. How did the Nazca create such accurate designs without being able to see them from above? The answer may be simpler than many imagine. Archaeologists believe the Nazca could have used basic tools, measurements, and careful planning to create the designs. However, the reason they dedicated so much effort to such massive projects remains unknown. The desert has preserved their creations for centuries, but their purpose remains hidden. Not all ancient mysteries are buried beneath the sand. Some stand openly before us. On the island of Rapa Nui, known today as Easter Island, hundreds of enormous stone statues watch silently over the landscape. The Moai. These giant figures are among the most recognizable ancient monuments in the world. Created by the Rapa Nui people between approximately 1400 and 1650, the statues represent ancestors and important figures within their society. More than 800 Moai exist across the island. Some stand over 10 meters tall and weigh many tons. For generations, one question fascinated researchers. How did the ancient islanders move these massive statues? The island had no modern machines, no metal cranes, no advanced transportation systems. Yet these people carved the statues from volcanic stone and transported them across the island. For many years, scientists believed the Rapa Nui destroyed their environment by cutting down forests to move the statues. According to this theory, deforestation led to ecological collapse and contributed to the decline of their civilization. However, newer research suggests the story may be more complicated. Polynesian rats brought to the island may have eaten palm seeds, preventing forests from recovering. Climate changes and social pressures may also have contributed. Then came another disaster: European contact. Diseases, slave raids, and outside interference devastated the population. By the late 19th century, only a small number of Rapa Nui people remained. Yet their statues survived. The Moai continue to stand as silent witnesses to a civilization that once thrived in isolation. They remind us that the collapse of civilizations is rarely caused by a single event. History is often shaped by a combination of nature, human choices, and forces beyond anyone's control. From a city beneath the ocean to a hidden royal tomb, to mysterious desert drawings and giant stone faces, the ancient world continues to reveal secrets that challenge our understanding. But these mysteries are only fragments of a much larger story. Because across the planet, countless forgotten places still wait beneath the surface. And some of them may completely change the way we see humanity's past. The ancient world was filled with civilizations that achieved extraordinary things. They built cities where none should have existed, created monuments that survived thousands of years, and developed knowledge that still fascinates researchers today. But every discovery also reveals something else: the limits of what we understand. For every answer uncovered, another question appears. And sometimes, the greatest mysteries are not hidden in forgotten ruins, but in the impossible achievements left behind by people who lived thousands of years ago. Deep in the mountains of Jordan, carved directly into rose-colored cliffs, stands one of the most breathtaking ancient cities ever created. Petra. Known as the Rose City because of the color of its sandstone walls, Petra was once the capital of the powerful Nabatean kingdom. More than 2,000 years ago, this hidden city controlled important trade routes connecting Arabia, Egypt, and the Mediterranean world. At first glance, Petra appears almost impossible. Its enormous buildings were not constructed from separate stones. They were carved directly into the mountain itself. The Nabateans transformed the natural landscape into a city of temples, tombs, monuments, and gathering places. Their most famous structure, Al-Khazne, meaning the treasury, rises nearly 40 meters high and remains one of the most recognizable ancient structures on Earth. But Petra's true genius was not only its architecture. It was water. The Nabateans lived in one of the harshest environments imaginable, surrounded by dry desert landscapes. Yet they created a sophisticated water management system that allowed the city to survive and prosper. They built channels, underground pipes, reservoirs, and dams that collected precious rainfall and protected the city from sudden floods. This engineering achievement transformed Petra from a desert settlement into a thriving metropolis. At its peak, thousands of people lived there. Merchants carrying valuable goods such as incense, spices, and silk passed through its streets. The city became wealthy because of its position at the center of ancient trade. But the success of Petra also made it a target. In 106 AD, the Roman Empire absorbed the Nabatean kingdom. Over time, trade routes changed, earthquakes damaged the city, and Petra slowly lost its importance. Eventually, it was abandoned. For centuries, Petra remained hidden from much of the outside world. When European explorers rediscovered it in the 19th century, they found a forgotten city carved into stone, almost frozen in time. But many mysteries remain. How exactly did the Nabateans carve such detailed structures into cliffs using ancient tools? How did they design such advanced water systems without modern technology? And how much of Petra still remains buried beneath the desert? The city we see today may only be a small part of what once existed. Far from Petra, another ancient wonder lies hidden beneath the earth. In Turkey's Cappadocia region, beneath volcanic landscapes and rocky valleys, lies one of the most astonishing underground discoveries in human history: Derinkuyu. This underground city was not simply a collection of caves. It was a complete world beneath the surface. Thousands of people could live there for extended periods. The city contained homes, storage rooms, places of worship, animal shelters, kitchens, wells, and ventilation systems. Multiple levels descended deep into the earth, connected by narrow tunnels and passages. Massive circular stone doors could block entrances, protecting residents from attackers. The design shows that the builders understood survival, security, and organization. But the biggest mystery is not what Derinkuyu contained. It is why it was created on such a massive scale. Some researchers believe its earliest construction began thousands of years ago, possibly with the Phrygians. Later, civilizations expanded the underground city, including early Christians who used it as a refuge during times of conflict. Imagine an entire population disappearing beneath the ground. Families bringing food supplies into hidden chambers. Animals kept in underground rooms. Communities living in darkness while armies passed above. Derinkuyu was more than architecture. It was a survival strategy. But questions remain unanswered. How did ancient builders remove so much volcanic rock? How did they maintain fresh air throughout such deep levels? And were these underground cities created only for protection? Or was there another purpose? Cappadocia contains hundreds of underground settlements. Perhaps Derinkuyu was only one piece of a much larger hidden world. Across the Mediterranean, another mystery emerges from an ancient civilization whose language remains silent. The Minoans of Crete. Thousands of years ago, the Minoans created one of Europe's earliest advanced civilizations. Their palaces, artwork, and maritime power made them one of the most influential societies of the Bronze Age. But their greatest secret remains locked inside strange symbols. Linear A. More than 1,400 inscriptions written in Linear A have been discovered. They appear on clay tablets, seals, and objects found across Crete. Yet despite decades of research, no one has successfully translated the language. The Minoans left behind thousands of messages, but humanity cannot understand them. The mystery is frustrating because another writing system from the same region, Linear B, was successfully decoded. Linear B revealed information about Mycenaean Greece, including administration and trade. But Linear A belongs to a different world, a lost voice. If researchers could decipher it, the discoveries could completely transform our understanding of Minoan civilization. The tablets may reveal their religious beliefs, their political structure, their economy, and perhaps even what caused their downfall. Because the disappearance of the Minoans remains one of the great mysteries of the ancient world. Around 1450 BC, their influence began to decline. Later, around 1200 BC, the Bronze Age collapse affected civilizations across the Mediterranean. Cities burned. Trade networks disappeared. Kingdoms vanished. The Minoans became a memory, but their written words survived, waiting, silent, unanswered. Sometimes the greatest mysteries are not about what was destroyed. They are about what was preserved. One of the most unusual examples comes from Lebanon, the ancient site of Baalbek. Located in the Bekaa Valley, Baalbek was transformed by the Romans into a magnificent religious center known as Heliopolis. The Romans built enormous temples dedicated to Jupiter, Bacchus, and Venus. But beneath these impressive Roman structures lies an even older mystery: the massive stone platform. Some of the stones used at Baalbek are among the largest ever placed in an ancient construction project. The famous trilithon stones are enormous blocks weighing hundreds of tons. Even with modern equipment, moving such massive stones would be a difficult engineering challenge. So how did ancient builders achieve this? Traditional explanations suggest careful planning, large labor forces, ramps, and ancient engineering methods. But the exact process remains uncertain. The mystery has inspired countless theories. Some believe ancient civilizations possessed forgotten knowledge. Others suggest that our understanding of ancient engineering is incomplete. What we do know is this: the people of the ancient world were capable of extraordinary achievements. They observed the heavens. They built cities. They solved engineering problems. They created monuments that survived thousands of years. And yet, many of their secrets remain hidden. From Petra's carved mountains, to Derinkuyu's underground world, to the unreadable symbols of the Minoans and the impossible stones of Baalbek. These mysteries reveal a forgotten truth. The ancient world was not simple. It was complex, ambitious, and full of unanswered questions. And somewhere beneath the sands, beneath the oceans, and beneath layers of forgotten history, more secrets are still waiting to be discovered. The desert winds have erased countless footprints from the pages of history. But sometimes beneath layers of sand, stone, and forgotten civilizations, the past leaves behind a message that refuses to disappear. Across the world, ancient structures stand like silent witnesses, challenging everything we thought we knew about human achievement. Some were built with astonishing precision, some hide secrets beneath their foundations, and others raise questions that modern science still struggles to answer. Were these places simply the work of ancient civilizations, or do they reveal a chapter of history that has been lost for thousands of years? Deep in the mountains, buried beneath cities, and hidden inside forgotten landscapes, there are mysteries waiting to be uncovered. The further researchers dig, the more complicated the story becomes. Because sometimes the greatest discoveries do not answer questions. They create even bigger ones. In the heart of Lebanon's Bekaa Valley stands one of the most extraordinary ancient sites ever created. A place where enormous stones weighing hundreds of tons were moved and positioned with such precision that even modern engineers struggle to explain how it was achieved. This is Baalbek. Today, most visitors know Baalbek as one of the greatest Roman archaeological sites in the world. Its massive temples dedicated to Jupiter, Bacchus, and Venus still tower above the landscape. But beneath the Roman ruins lies something much older and far more mysterious. Long before the Romans arrived, this location was already considered sacred. Ancient civilizations recognized the importance of this land thousands of years ago. Archaeologists have discovered evidence suggesting that human activity at Baalbek stretches back thousands of years before the Roman Empire. But the true mystery lies not in the temples themselves. It lies beneath them. The foundation stones of Baalbek are among the largest ever used in ancient construction. Some blocks measure more than 20 meters in length and weigh over 1,000 tons. These enormous stones, known as the trilithon, were placed several meters above the ground with incredible accuracy. The question that has fascinated researchers for generations is simple. How were these stones transported, lifted, and positioned? Ancient builders had no modern cranes, no engines, and no advanced machinery. They relied on human strength, simple tools, and engineering knowledge that has partly disappeared from history. Some researchers believe ancient techniques involving ramps, rollers, and large groups of workers could explain the construction. Others argue that the scale of the project suggests a level of engineering ability far beyond what we currently understand. The mystery becomes even deeper because historical records remain strangely silent about the construction of this massive platform. The Romans documented many of their achievements, yet they left few details explaining how these gigantic stones were moved. Was Baalbek simply a masterpiece of ancient engineering? Or does it represent a forgotten technology from a civilization whose knowledge has been lost? Thousands of kilometers away, another mystery lies hidden beneath the forests of Cambodia. For centuries, the jungle concealed one of humanity's greatest architectural achievements: Angkor. At its height, the Khmer Empire created one of the largest urban civilizations on Earth. The center of this empire was Angkor, a city that stretched across hundreds of square kilometers. Its most famous monument, Angkor Wat, remains a symbol of human creativity. Built in the 12th century under King Suryavarman II, it was designed as a temple dedicated to Vishnu and later became a Buddhist sanctuary. But what makes Angkor truly astonishing is not only its temples. It is the city itself. Modern researchers discovered that Angkor was far larger and more advanced than previously believed. Using satellite technology, archaeologists uncovered evidence of an enormous network of roads, reservoirs, canals, and settlements hidden beneath the forest. This was not simply a temple complex. It was a sophisticated city designed to control water, support agriculture, and sustain a massive population. At its peak, Angkor may have been home to hundreds of thousands of people. Yet despite its greatness, the city eventually disappeared. By the 15th century, Angkor was largely abandoned. The exact reason remains debated. Some researchers believe climate change played a major role. Periods of extreme drought followed by intense flooding damaged the city's complex water management system. Others believe political instability and warfare weakened the empire. But another question remains: how could such a powerful civilization vanish so completely? The jungle reclaimed the city, hiding its existence from much of the world until French explorers rediscovered it in the 19th century. Today, Angkor stands as a reminder that even the greatest civilizations can disappear, not because they lacked intelligence or creativity, but because every empire, no matter how powerful, can eventually fall. Far away in Peru, another ancient mystery rises above the clouds: Machu Picchu. Hidden among the Andes Mountains, this breathtaking Inca city remained unknown to much of the outside world for centuries. Built around the 15th century, Machu Picchu demonstrates incredible architectural skill. Massive stone blocks were cut and fitted together without mortar, creating structures that have survived earthquakes for hundreds of years. The precision is remarkable. The stones fit so tightly that even a knife cannot easily pass between them. But the biggest mystery is not how Machu Picchu was built. It is why. Historians believe it may have been a royal estate, a religious center, or a retreat for Inca rulers. Yet many questions remain unanswered. Why was it built in such a remote and difficult location? How were thousands of stones transported up steep mountain slopes? And why was it abandoned so quickly after the arrival of the Spanish? The Spanish conquistadors destroyed much of the Inca Empire, but strangely, they never documented Machu Picchu. The city remained hidden, protected by mountains and forests, until Hiram Bingham rediscovered it in 1911. Some believe Machu Picchu was intentionally abandoned to protect it from invaders. Others suggest disease, political collapse, or internal conflicts caused its downfall. But the truth remains uncertain. Another mystery lies beneath the waters of the Mediterranean. The ancient Egyptian city of Thonis Heraklion was once one of the most important ports in the ancient world. For centuries, historians believed the city was only a legend. But in the early 2000s, underwater archaeologists discovered something extraordinary: a lost city resting beneath the sea. Massive statues, temple ruins, coins, jewelry, and inscriptions emerged from the ocean floor. The discovery revealed a city that had once connected Egypt with Greece and the wider Mediterranean world. But around the 2nd century BC, disaster struck. The ground beneath the city slowly collapsed. Earthquakes, rising sea levels, and flooding caused Thonis Heraklion to sink beneath the waves. For over 1,000 years, it remained forgotten, until the ocean gave back its secrets. These discoveries remind us that history is not a finished story. It is a puzzle scattered across the planet. Some pieces are buried beneath deserts. Some are hidden beneath forests. Others are waiting at the bottom of the sea. Every ancient stone carries a question. Every forgotten city holds a memory. And every discovery brings us closer to understanding the civilizations that came before us. But the greatest mysteries are often the ones that remain unsolved. Because perhaps the past is not silent. Perhaps it is waiting for humanity to finally learn how to listen. The further we travel into the forgotten corners of history, the more we realize that the ancient world was not as simple as we once believed. Beneath layers of earth, hidden inside mountains and buried under oceans, there are discoveries that challenge our understanding of human civilization. Every artifact tells a story, but some stories refuse to reveal their final chapter. Across the planet, ancient people left behind enormous structures, mysterious symbols, and impossible achievements. Some were created thousands of years before modern technology existed. Others belong to civilizations that vanished without leaving clear explanations behind. But perhaps the greatest mystery is not what ancient people built. It is what they knew. Deep beneath the hills of Turkey lies a discovery that forced archaeologists to completely rewrite the timeline of human history. a place older than the pyramids, older than Stonehenge, older than many of the first known cities. This is Göbekli Tepe. For thousands of years, this ancient site remained hidden beneath the soil of southeastern Turkey. Local farmers knew there were strange stones beneath the ground, but no one understood their true importance. Then, in the 1990s, archaeologists began excavations. What they uncovered shocked the world. Massive stone pillars, some weighing several tons, arranged in circular formations. Many were decorated with detailed carvings of animals, including snakes, foxes, birds, and wild boars. The most astonishing fact was the age. Göbekli Tepe was built around 9600 BC. That means it was created more than 11,000 years ago, thousands of years before the invention of agriculture, writing, or traditional cities. For decades, scientists believed humans first settled into organized societies after they developed farming. The traditional story suggested that agriculture allowed people to stop hunting and gathering, creating permanent settlements that eventually led to complex civilizations. But Göbekli Tepe challenged this idea. The builders of this monument were hunter-gatherers. They did not live in cities. They did not have metal tools. They did not have wheels or advanced machinery. Yet somehow they organized large groups of people, transported enormous stones, and created a monument requiring advanced planning and cooperation. Why? What purpose did this massive structure serve? Some researchers believe Göbekli Tepe was a ceremonial center, a place where different groups gathered for rituals and religious events. Others suggest it may have been a meeting place where ancient communities exchanged knowledge, traditions, and resources. But the deeper mystery remains. How did people thousands of years ago develop such complex ideas before the rise of agriculture? Could this discovery represent a lost chapter of human development? Or is our understanding of ancient societies incomplete? The mystery becomes even stranger when we look at the symbols carved into the stones. Some pillars show creatures that appear almost symbolic rather than realistic. A pillar known as the vulture stone displays images that some researchers believe may represent beliefs about death, the afterlife, or celestial events. Were these carvings simply artistic expressions? Or were they part of an ancient knowledge system that has been lost forever? Thousands of kilometers away, another mysterious civilization left behind a message that no one has been able to read. The Indus Valley Civilization. Around 5,000 years ago, one of the world's greatest urban societies flourished across modern-day Pakistan and northwest India. Cities like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa contained carefully planned streets, advanced drainage systems, public baths, and impressive architecture. Their cities were organized with a level of planning that rivaled much later civilizations. Yet despite their achievements, one thing remains unknown: their language. Thousands of inscriptions have been discovered on seals, pottery, and objects. But the Indus script has never been successfully deciphered. The symbols appear everywhere, but their meaning remains hidden. Are they words, names, religious symbols, a lost writing system? Without understanding their language, much of the Indus civilization remains a mystery. We do not know their rulers. We do not know their beliefs. We do not know exactly how their society functioned. Even their disappearance remains debated. Around 1900 BC, many Indus cities began to decline. Some researchers believe climate change altered river systems, making agriculture more difficult. Others suggest economic problems, environmental disasters, or disease played a role. But unlike Egypt, Greece, or Rome, the Indus people left behind no famous kings, no epic stories, and no written history that we can understand. Their civilization vanished quietly, leaving behind only questions. Far across the ocean, another ancient mystery waits in the Pacific. Easter Island. Known today as Rapa Nui, this isolated island is famous for its enormous stone statues called moai. Hundreds of these giant figures stand across the landscape, staring silently toward the horizon. For centuries, people have wondered how a small island population created such massive monuments. The statues were carved from volcanic stone and transported several kilometers from the quarry where they were created. Some weigh more than 70 tons. The traditional mystery asks, how did ancient people move these enormous statues without modern machines? Many theories have been proposed. Some researchers believe the Rapa Nui used wooden rollers and ropes. Others suggest they moved the statues upright by rocking them from side to side, almost like walking. Experiments have shown that this may have been possible. But another mystery remains. Why did the civilization decline? For years, the popular explanation was that the people of Easter Island destroyed their own environment. The theory suggested that they cut down all the trees to transport statues, causing ecological collapse. Without forests, they supposedly lost resources, leading to starvation and conflict. But recent research has complicated this story. Scientists discovered evidence that rats brought by Polynesian settlers may have prevented forests from regenerating by eating palm seeds. European diseases and slave raids later devastated the population even further. By the late 19th century, only a small number of Rapa Nui people remained. The true story may not be one of self-destruction. It may be a story of survival against overwhelming challenges. But the silent Moai continue to raise questions. Why were they created? Who were they meant to represent? And what beliefs inspired people to spend generations carving enormous faces from stone? In the deserts of Egypt, another mystery continues to capture human imagination. The Great Sphinx of Giza. Standing beside the famous pyramids, the Sphinx remains one of the most recognizable monuments on Earth. A massive stone figure with the body of a lion and the head of a human. Historians believe it was built during the reign of Pharaoh Khafre around 2500 BC. But some researchers argue the Sphinx may be far older. They point to signs of water erosion on the body of the monument, suggesting it may have been exposed to heavy rainfall thousands of years before Egyptian civilization reached its peak. Mainstream archaeologists reject this idea, arguing that the erosion has other explanations. The debate continues. Was the Sphinx truly built during the Old Kingdom? Or is it a surviving monument from an even earlier forgotten age? The mystery of the Sphinx is not only about its age, it is about its purpose. Why was this enormous guardian carved? What message was it meant to send? And why has it survived while so much of the ancient world disappeared? From Turkey's hidden temples to Egypt's silent guardian, from the lost cities of the Indus Valley to the giant statues of Rapa Nui, the ancient world continues to challenge everything we think we know. These civilizations were not primitive. They were creators, explorers, engineers, and thinkers. They looked at the world around them and created monuments that survived thousands of years. Yet the greatest discoveries are often the ones that remind us how much remains unknown. Because beneath every ancient stone lies a question. And sometimes the unanswered questions are the most fascinating discoveries of all. Human history is filled with moments that seem impossible to explain. Across deserts, mountains, and forgotten landscapes, ancient civilizations left behind traces of their existence. Some discoveries reveal incredible knowledge and skill, while others create mysteries that continue to confuse researchers centuries later. But perhaps the most fascinating mysteries are not the ones completely lost to time. They are the ones that are almost understood. The artifacts we can see, the ruins we can touch, the writings we can study. Yet despite all our technology and knowledge, their true purpose remains hidden. Deep in the mountains of Peru, surrounded by clouds and endless green valleys, stands one of the greatest symbols of ancient engineering, Machu Picchu. But beyond its breathtaking beauty lies a mystery that has fascinated historians for more than a century. Why was this city built in such an impossible location? The Inca Empire created one of the most advanced civilizations in the Americas. Without using wheels for transportation, iron tools, or written language as we know it today, they constructed enormous cities, roads, and temples across one of the most difficult environments on Earth. The Andes Mountains were not an easy place to build. Steep cliffs, unstable terrain, and extreme weather conditions made construction incredibly challenging. Yet high above the Urubamba Valley, the Inca created Machu Picchu. The city sits nearly 2,400 meters above sea level, hidden between mountain peaks. Its stone structures fit perfectly into the landscape. Walls were built using a technique known as ashlar masonry, where stones were carefully shaped and placed together without mortar. The precision was extraordinary. The Inca understood their environment so well that Machu Picchu survived centuries of earthquakes that destroyed many other buildings. But the purpose of this mysterious city remains uncertain. Some historians believe it was a royal estate for the Inca Emperor Pachacuti. Others believe it was a religious sanctuary connected to astronomy and sacred rituals. The location itself may have held spiritual importance. The surrounding mountains, known as Apus, were considered sacred beings by the Inca. The city was designed around natural features, with temples aligned toward important astronomical events. The Temple of the Sun, one of the most famous structures at Machu Picchu, appears to have been carefully positioned to observe the movement of the sun during solstices. But if Machu Picchu was so important, why did it disappear? When Spanish conquistadors destroyed the Inca Empire in the 16th century, they recorded many cities and treasures. Yet Machu Picchu was never mentioned. The city remained hidden, protected by mountains and jungle, until American explorer Hiram Bingham reached it in 1911. When he arrived, he found stone buildings covered by vegetation, abandoned and forgotten. The question remains: did the Inca intentionally hide Machu Picchu? Was it abandoned before the Spanish invasion? Or did something happen that forced its inhabitants to leave? The answers remain buried beneath the stones. Thousands of kilometers away, another ancient mystery lies beneath the sands of Egypt: the unfinished obelisk of Aswan. For thousands of years, Egypt was known for its incredible stone monuments. The pyramids, temples, and statues created by ancient Egyptians demonstrate extraordinary engineering abilities. But one object reveals something even more fascinating: a giant monument that was never completed. The unfinished obelisk lies in an ancient granite quarry near Aswan. If completed, it would have been the largest obelisk ever created. It was designed to rise approximately 42 meters high and weigh nearly 1,000 tons. The ancient Egyptians carved directly into the bedrock, separating the massive structure from the surrounding stone. But something went wrong. Large cracks appeared in the granite, forcing workers to abandon the project. Today, the unfinished obelisk remains exactly where ancient workers left it thousands of years ago. It provides archaeologists with a rare glimpse into the techniques used by Egyptian craftsmen. The marks left by their tools show how they shaped massive stones without modern machinery. But the mystery remains. How did ancient Egyptians move and raise completed obelisks that were just as enormous? Some obelisks were transported hundreds of kilometers and placed perfectly upright. The engineering required was extraordinary. Even today, moving such a structure would be a major challenge. The unfinished obelisk is not just a failed project. It is evidence of ambition. It shows a civilization willing to attempt achievements on a scale that still amazes the modern world. But Egypt's mysteries do not end there. Hidden beneath the desert near the ancient city of Saqqara lies another strange discovery: the Serapeum, a massive underground complex filled with enormous stone sarcophagi. The Serapeum was dedicated to the sacred Apis bulls, animals worshipped by ancient Egyptians as manifestations of the god Ptah. When an Apis bull died, it was believed to become divine. The animal was mummified and placed inside a massive granite or basalt sarcophagus. But these were not ordinary burial containers. Some weighed more than 70 tons. They were carved from extremely hard stone with remarkable precision. The underground tunnels where these sarcophagi were placed are among the most impressive ancient structures in Egypt. Yet, questions remain. How were these enormous boxes transported underground? How were they positioned inside narrow chambers? And why did ancient Egyptians invest so much effort into creating such enormous burial places for animals? The answers reveal the importance of religion in ancient Egyptian society. But the level of craftsmanship continues to surprise researchers. Traveling west across the Atlantic Ocean, another mystery emerges from the forests of Mexico: the ancient city of Teotihuacan. Long before the rise of the Aztec Empire, a powerful civilization created one of the greatest cities in the ancient world. Teotihuacan means the place where the gods were created, in the Nahuatl language. The Aztecs gave the city this name centuries after it was abandoned, but the original builders remain unknown. At its peak, Teotihuacan was home to more than 100,000 people. It contained massive pyramids, enormous avenues, and carefully planned neighborhoods. The Pyramid of the Sun and Pyramid of the Moon dominate the landscape. The city was designed with incredible symmetry. But who built this extraordinary civilization? No written records have been discovered that reveal their identity. The people who created Teotihuacan disappeared from history. By around the 7th century AD, the city was abandoned. The reasons remain debated. Some researchers believe political conflict caused its collapse. Others suggest environmental problems, warfare, or social unrest played a role. But the greatest mystery remains the identity of its builders. How could such an advanced civilization rise and disappear without leaving behind clear answers? Deep beneath the oceans, another ancient mystery waits. The sunken city of Pavlopetri. Located near the coast of Greece, Pavlopetri is one of the oldest submerged cities ever discovered. The ruins date back more than 5,000 years. Unlike many underwater sites, Pavlopetri was not destroyed by war. It appears to have slowly disappeared beneath the sea due to geological changes. The city contains streets, buildings, courtyards, and even evidence of a planned urban layout. It provides a rare glimpse into daily life during the Bronze Age. Researchers believe people lived there, traded goods, produced textiles, and managed a sophisticated society. But why did the city sink? Was it destroyed by earthquakes? Did rising sea levels slowly cover it? Or was there another event that forced its inhabitants to leave? The ocean protects many secrets, and Pavlopetri proves that entire chapters of human history can disappear beneath the waves. From the mountains of Peru to the deserts of Egypt, from forgotten cities to underwater ruins, ancient mysteries continue to challenge our understanding. Every discovery reveals a civilization that was more complex, more creative, and more capable than many once believed. But the past still holds countless unanswered questions. Because history is not only the story we know, it is also the story waiting to be discovered. The deeper we explore the ancient world, the more we realize that history is not a straight line. It is a vast landscape filled with forgotten kingdoms, vanished cities, and discoveries that challenge everything we thought we understood. For centuries, historians believed they had reconstructed the story of humanity. They believed they knew when civilizations rose, how they developed, and why they disappeared. But every generation uncovers new evidence. Every excavation reveals another mystery. And sometimes, a single discovery can completely change the way we see the past. Hidden beneath forests, buried under deserts, and lost beneath the ocean, ancient worlds are still waiting to be found. One of the greatest examples lies deep in the jungles of Cambodia, a forgotten empire that once ruled Southeast Asia, the Khmer Empire. At the center of this civilization stood Angkor, a city so massive and advanced that it rivaled the greatest cities of the ancient world. For centuries, European explorers believed the temples of Angkor were simply isolated monuments swallowed by the jungle. But modern technology revealed something extraordinary. Angkor was not just a temple. It was a vast urban civilization. Using satellite imaging and advanced archaeological surveys, researchers discovered thousands of hidden structures beneath the forest. Roads, reservoirs, canals, and settlements stretched across an enormous landscape. The city was designed around water. The Khmer engineers created one of the most sophisticated hydraulic systems of the ancient world. Huge reservoirs collected rainwater during the monsoon season and distributed it through an interconnected network of canals. This allowed the empire to support a massive population and maintain agricultural production throughout the year. At its peak, Angkor may have been home to hundreds of thousands of people. It was a city of temples, palaces, markets, and neighborhoods. But then, something changed. The empire that created one of the greatest cities in history began to collapse. By the 15th century, Angkor was abandoned. The jungle slowly reclaimed the city. Trees grew over stone walls. Roots wrapped around temples. The once powerful capital disappeared from human memory. But why? For years, historians believed invasion was responsible. The neighboring Ayutthaya kingdom attacked Angkor, and many thought this destroyed the city. However, new evidence suggests the collapse was more complicated. Scientists studying ancient tree rings and sediment samples discovered signs of extreme climate changes. Long periods of drought were followed by intense floods. The carefully designed water system that supported Angkor became impossible to maintain. The same technology that allowed the city to flourish may have become its weakness. When the environment changed, the entire system began to fail. But another question remains. Why did the people leave such a magnificent city behind? Why abandon temples that took generations to build? Why allow one of humanity's greatest achievements to disappear beneath the jungle? The answers may never be fully known. Thousands of kilometers away, another ancient mystery lies hidden beneath the sands of Jordan. The lost city of Petra. Known as the Rose City because of the color of its sandstone cliffs, Petra was once the capital of the Nabatean kingdom. The Nabateans were master traders who controlled important routes connecting Arabia, Egypt, and the Mediterranean world. They built a thriving civilization in one of the harshest environments on Earth. At first glance, Petra seems impossible. A city carved directly into mountains. Massive structures emerging from cliffs. Buildings shaped from solid rock. But Petra's greatest achievement was not its appearance. It was water. The Nabateans transformed the desert into a place where thousands of people could survive. They created channels, underground pipes, reservoirs, and dams that captured every drop of precious rainfall. Their engineering allowed Petra to become a center of trade and culture. Caravans carrying spices, incense, and luxury goods passed through the city. For centuries, Petra prospered. But eventually, its importance began to decline. The Roman Empire annexed Petra in 106 AD. Later, changes in trade routes reduced the city's influence. Earthquakes damaged important structures. Slowly, Petra was abandoned. For hundreds of years, it remained hidden from much of the world. Local communities knew of its existence, but Europeans rediscovered it only in the 19th century. Today, Petra is considered one of the greatest archaeological wonders on Earth. Yet many questions remain. How exactly did the Nabateans carve such detailed structures into the mountains? How did they design such advanced water systems without modern technology? And how much of Petra still remains buried beneath the desert? The lost city continues to hold secrets. Far across the world, another mystery rises from the plains of England. Stonehenge, a monument that has fascinated humanity for thousands of years. Standing on Salisbury Plain, Stonehenge consists of enormous stones arranged in a circular formation. Some stones weigh more than 25 tons. Others were transported from locations over 200 kilometers away. The construction began around 3000 BC and continued for generations. But the mystery is not simply how it was built. The mystery is why. What purpose did Stonehenge serve? For centuries, countless theories have been proposed. Some believe it was a religious center. Others suggest it was an astronomical observatory. The alignment of the stones with the sun during the solstices indicates that the builders had a deep understanding of celestial movements. The sunrise on the summer solstice aligns perfectly with a specific stone known as the heel stone. This suggests that the movement of the sun played an important role in the monument's design. But the people who built Stonehenge left behind no written explanation. We do not know their names. We do not know their beliefs. We do not know why they invested generations of effort into this massive structure. The stones remain silent. But they continue to tell us one thing. The people of prehistoric Britain were far more organized and sophisticated than many once believed. In the frozen lands of Siberia, another discovery challenged our understanding of ancient societies. A fortress built thousands of years before, many believed humans were capable of creating defensive structures. The site known as Amnia. Located near the Irtysh River, this ancient settlement dates back approximately 8,000 years. What makes it extraordinary is its age. During this period, many humans were still living as hunter-gatherers. The idea of constructing a fortified settlement seemed impossible. Yet archaeologists discovered evidence of defensive walls, ditches, and organized structures. The settlement included houses, storage areas, and signs of planning. This discovery suggests that ancient hunter-gatherers were more complex than previously assumed. They were not simply wandering groups searching for food. They could organize communities, defend territory, and build permanent structures. But why did they need a fortress? Who were they protecting themselves from? What conflicts existed thousands of years before traditional civilizations? The discovery creates more questions than answers. In the deserts of Peru, another mysterious achievement appears. The Nazca lines. Giant designs carved into the ground that can only truly be understood from above. Created between approximately 500 BC and 500 AD, these enormous geoglyphs cover hundreds of square kilometers of desert. They depict animals, plants, geometric shapes, and mysterious patterns. The Nazca people created them by removing dark stones from the desert surface, revealing lighter soil underneath. The technique was simple, but the scale was extraordinary. Some lines stretch for kilometers. The question remains, why create something that cannot be fully seen from the ground? Some researchers believe the lines were connected to religious ceremonies. Others suggest they marked underground water sources or important routes. Some believe they had astronomical purposes. And of course, because of their strange appearance, they have inspired countless theories about extraterrestrial visitors. But the truth may be much more fascinating. The Nazca lines reveal a society deeply connected with the landscape around them. They transformed an empty desert into a giant canvas, a message written into the earth itself. From Angkor to Petra, Stonehenge to Nazca, these ancient mysteries reveal something powerful. The civilizations of the past were not simple. They were innovators, engineers, artists, and explorers. They looked at the world and created monuments that survived thousands of years. But despite all our discoveries, many questions remain unanswered. And perhaps that is what makes the ancient world so fascinating. Because every stone, every ruin, and every forgotten city reminds us that humanity's story is much larger than we imagine. The past is not finished. It is still waiting to be uncovered. The ancient world was filled with civilizations that rose from nothing, reached incredible heights, and then disappeared into the shadows of history. Their cities became ruins, their languages became forgotten, and their achievements were buried beneath centuries of dust. But every once in a while, archaeologists uncover something that forces humanity to question everything it thought it knew. A hidden chamber, a mysterious artifact, a forgotten civilization, a discovery that reveals the ancient world was far more complex than we ever imagined. Across the planet, these mysteries remain like unfinished chapters of a story written thousands of years ago. And perhaps the greatest mystery is not what we have discovered. It is what still remains hidden. Deep beneath the Egyptian desert lies one of the most mysterious places ever created by ancient hands, the Serapeum of Saqqara. Beneath the sands near the famous Step Pyramid of Djoser, this enormous underground complex has fascinated researchers for generations. At first glance, it appears to be a burial site. But the scale of the construction is unlike anything ordinary. The Serapeum consists of long underground tunnels carved directly into solid rock. Inside these chambers were massive stone sarcophagi created from granite, basalt, and other extremely hard materials. Some of these boxes weigh more than 60 tons. Their surfaces are incredibly smooth. Their corners are perfectly straight. The precision is astonishing. The purpose of these enormous containers was connected to the sacred Apis bulls. In ancient Egypt, these animals were believed to be living representatives of the god Ptah. When a sacred bull died, it was mummified and placed inside a massive sarcophagus. But the mystery begins with the engineering. How did ancient workers move these enormous stone containers deep underground? How were they positioned inside narrow chambers? And why did they create such massive structures for animal burials? Some historians believe the answer lies in the religious importance of the Apis bulls. To the ancient Egyptians, these animals represented divine power. The effort invested in their burial reflected their spiritual significance. But even this explanation does not fully answer how such precise stonework was achieved thousands of years ago. The Serapeum is a reminder that ancient Egypt was not only a civilization of pyramids and pharaohs, it was also a civilization of engineers, architects, and master craftsmen whose knowledge continues to amaze the modern world. Far from Egypt, in the mountains of Turkey, another ancient mystery challenges our understanding of early humans. Derinkuyu. Beneath the volcanic landscape of Cappadocia lies one of the largest underground cities ever discovered. Unlike ordinary caves, Derinkuyu was a complete underground world. It extended more than 80 meters beneath the surface, with multiple levels connected by tunnels and passageways. Inside, archaeologists discovered living areas, kitchens, storage rooms, animal shelters, religious spaces, and ventilation systems. The city was designed to support thousands of people. But the greatest mystery is not its size. It is its purpose. Why did people build an entire city underground? The answer may be survival. Cappadocia experienced centuries of conflict and invasion. Underground cities like Derinkuyu provided protection from armies and raiders. The narrow entrances could be sealed with massive circular stones, preventing enemies from entering. The ventilation shafts allowed fresh air to reach deep levels, making long periods underground possible. Researchers believe the earliest parts of Derinkuyu may date back thousands of years, possibly connected to the ancient Phrygians. Later civilizations expanded and used the city, including early Christians seeking refuge from persecution. But questions remain. How did ancient people design such a complex underground environment? How long did construction take? And how many other underground cities remain undiscovered beneath Cappadocia? The surface may only show a small part of what lies beneath. Thousands of kilometers away, in the Pacific Ocean, a mysterious civilization created one of the most recognizable monuments on Earth. The Moai statues of Easter Island. Standing silently across the island landscape, these enormous stone figures appear to watch over the land. For centuries, they have inspired curiosity and debate. Who created them? Why were they built? And how were they moved? The Rapa Nui people carved hundreds of these statues from volcanic stone. The largest unfinished statue, known as El Gigante, would have reached nearly 20 meters tall if completed. The effort required to create these monuments was enormous. Workers spent months carving individual statues from the quarry at Rano Raraku. Then they transported them across the island. But the transportation method remains one of archaeology's greatest debates. Traditional theories suggested the statues were dragged using wooden logs. However, experiments have shown another possibility. Groups of people may have moved the statues upright by using ropes and a rocking motion, almost as if the statues were walking. This idea matches ancient oral traditions that said the statues moved by themselves. But another mystery remains. Why did the Rapa Nui create hundreds of massive stone figures? Many researchers believe they represented ancestors. The statues may have been created to honor important leaders and maintain a connection between the living and the spiritual world. Yet the civilization that created them eventually declined. For generations, people believed the island's population destroyed itself through overuse of resources. But modern research suggests the story may be more complicated. Environmental changes, invasive species, European diseases, and slave raids all contributed to the island's tragedy. The Moai are not only monuments. They are reminders of a civilization that survived incredible challenges. In the deserts of Jordan, another ancient mystery tells the story of a forgotten empire, the Nabateans. Their greatest achievement was Petra, the city carved into stone. But Petra was only one part of a larger civilization. The Nabateans controlled major trade routes connecting Arabia with the Mediterranean. They became wealthy through the transportation of valuable goods, especially frankincense and myrrh. Their success depended on their ability to survive in the desert. And their water technology was extraordinary. They created underground channels and storage systems that captured rainfall and protected the city from floods. Their engineers understood the movement of water through the mountains. They transformed a dry landscape into a thriving urban center. But after centuries of prosperity, Petra declined. The Roman Empire absorbed the Nabatean kingdom. Trade routes changed. Natural disasters damaged the city. Eventually, Petra became almost forgotten. Yet the question remains, how much of the Nabatean world is still hidden? The desert surrounding Petra may contain countless undiscovered structures waiting beneath the sand. In the jungles of Central America, another lost civilization continues to reveal its secrets. The Maya. For centuries, Europeans believed the Maya were a mysterious ancient people who disappeared. But archaeology revealed a much more complex story. The Maya created enormous cities, advanced calendars, mathematical systems, and incredible astronomical knowledge. Cities like Tikal, Palenque, and Calakmul contained towering pyramids and massive temples. Their understanding of astronomy was astonishing. They tracked the movements of the sun, moon, and planets with remarkable accuracy. Yet the Maya civilization experienced a major collapse around the 9th century. Many major cities were abandoned. The reasons remain debated. Climate change, drought, warfare, political instability, and resource problems may have all played a role. But the Maya did not vanish. Their descendants still live throughout Central America today. Their civilization changed. It adapted. It survived. The mysteries of the ancient world continue to show us that history is not simply about the rise and fall of civilizations. It is about human creativity. It is about ambition. It is about the desire to build something that lasts beyond a single lifetime. From underground cities to giant statues, from desert kingdoms to forgotten temples, ancient people left behind evidence of their intelligence and imagination. But every discovery creates new questions. And perhaps that is why these mysteries continue to fascinate us. because the past is not a closed book. It is a story still being written. Beyond the deserts, oceans, and forgotten ruins of the ancient world, there are mysteries that refuse to disappear. Every discovery seems to answer one question while creating 10 more. Beneath layers of earth and time, civilizations left behind messages, monuments, and secrets that still challenge everything we know about human history. But perhaps the most fascinating mysteries are not the ones that have been lost forever. They are the ones that are right in front of us, waiting for someone to finally understand them. Hidden among the mountains of Colombia lies one of the greatest archaeological mysteries of South America, a forgotten city that remained untouched for centuries. Known today as Ciudad Perdida, or the Lost City, this ancient settlement was once the heart of the mysterious Tairona civilization. Long before European explorers arrived on the continent, the Tairona people built an extraordinary society deep within the Sierra Nevada mountains. Surrounded by dense jungle and connected by hundreds of stone pathways, their city represented a level of organization and engineering that continues to amaze archaeologists. The city was built around the 8th century AD, making it hundreds of years older than the famous Machu Picchu. Yet unlike the Inca city hidden in the Andes, Ciudad Perdida remained almost completely unknown to the outside world. The Tairona created terraces carved into the mountainside, allowing them to build homes, ceremonial spaces, and agricultural areas in one of the most difficult environments on Earth. Massive stone stairways connected different levels of the city, while carefully designed drainage systems protected the settlement from tropical storms. At its peak, thousands of people may have lived here. They cultivated crops, traded valuable resources, and developed a complex spiritual culture connected deeply with nature. But then, something changed. Around the time Spanish explorers began expanding into the region, Ciudad Perdida was abandoned. The reasons remain uncertain. Some researchers believe disease brought by Europeans devastated the population. Others suggest political changes or conflicts forced the inhabitants to leave. Unlike many ancient cities destroyed by war, Ciudad Perdida simply disappeared into the jungle. For hundreds of years, the forest reclaimed the ruins. Trees grew over stone pathways. Roots covered ancient structures. The once great city became a forgotten world, hidden beneath leaves and shadows. It was not until the 1970s that treasure hunters discovered the site while searching for valuable artifacts. They uncovered stone terraces, golden objects, and evidence of a civilization that had been almost completely erased from history. Today, archaeologists continue studying Ciudad Perdida, but many questions remain unanswered. Who truly built this city? How did they transport massive stones through impossible terrain? Why did they choose such a remote location deep in the mountains? Perhaps the greatest mystery is not how the city was created, but why it vanished. Thousands of miles away, another ancient mystery waits beneath the waters of the Mediterranean Sea. For centuries, historians believed the legendary city of Thonis Heracleion was nothing more than a myth. Ancient writers described it as a magnificent Egyptian port where merchants from across the known world gathered. But no one knew where it was. Then, in the early 21st century, archaeologists made a discovery that seemed impossible. Beneath the waters near Alexandria, Egypt, they found the remains of an entire city preserved under layers of mud and sand. Thonis Heracleion had been real. For nearly 1,000 years, this city served as one of Egypt's most important gateways to the outside world. Ships carrying goods from Greece, the Mediterranean, and the Middle East passed through its massive harbor. The city was filled with temples, statues, markets, and impressive buildings. At its center stood a magnificent temple dedicated to Amun, one of ancient Egypt's most powerful gods. But around the 2nd century BC, the city began its mysterious decline. A combination of natural disasters, rising sea levels, Earthquakes and soil instability caused the land beneath the city to collapse. Slowly, Thonis Heracleion sank beneath the waves. Over time, it disappeared completely. For more than 1,000 years, the city remained hidden beneath the Mediterranean, waiting to be rediscovered. When archaeologists finally explored the underwater ruins, they uncovered enormous statues, gold jewelry, religious artifacts, and even ancient ships frozen in time. The discovery changed our understanding of ancient Egypt and revealed that many legendary stories were based on real places. But one question remains: how many other forgotten cities are still waiting beneath the oceans? Because Thonis Heracleion is not the only ancient civilization swallowed by nature. Across the world, rising seas have hidden countless settlements, leaving humanity with only fragments of their existence. Some researchers believe the oceans may contain the remains of entire civilizations that have never been discovered. And perhaps nowhere is that possibility more intriguing than near the coast of India. Off the southeastern coast of India and Sri Lanka lies a mysterious chain of limestone formations known as Ram Setu, or Adam's Bridge. According to Hindu tradition, this ancient bridge was built by the god Rama and his army to reach Sri Lanka and rescue his wife Sita. For centuries, many considered the story purely mythological. But satellite images revealed a strange formation stretching more than 30 kilometers across the ocean. Scientists argue that Ram Setu is a natural geological structure formed by sand deposits and coral formations. However, some researchers question whether parts of the formation may have been modified by humans thousands of years ago. The mystery deepens because some studies suggest differences in the ages of the rocks and surrounding sediments. Could this have once been a naturally formed land bridge later used by ancient people? Or does it represent something more? The evidence remains incomplete, and the debate continues. Yet this is exactly what makes ancient mysteries so fascinating. They exist in the space between fact and uncertainty. They force us to examine what we know, what we assume, and what we have yet to discover. In the deserts of Peru, another impossible creation continues to challenge researchers: the Nazca Lines. Spread across hundreds of square kilometers of barren desert, these enormous designs depict animals, plants, geometric shapes, and mysterious symbols carved directly into the ground. Created between 500 BC and 500 AD, the Nazca people produced hundreds of geoglyphs by removing dark surface stones and revealing lighter soil underneath. The incredible part is their size. Some figures stretch hundreds of meters across the landscape, making them almost impossible to understand from the ground. The ancient Nazca people had no aircraft, no modern technology, and no way to see these designs from above. So why create something that could only truly be appreciated from the sky? Many researchers believe the lines had religious or astronomical purposes. They may have been connected to rituals involving water, fertility, and communication with supernatural forces. Others believe they represented pathways used during ceremonies. And of course, some theories suggest connections to ancient visitors from the stars. But the truth may be even more interesting. Perhaps the Nazca Lines reveal a deeper understanding of mathematics, geography, and astronomy than we have previously imagined. A civilization that looked toward the heavens and created symbols meant to survive thousands of years. Across every continent, the ancient world leaves behind similar mysteries. Cities abandoned without explanation. Monuments built with unknown purposes. Symbols that remain undeciphered. Artifacts that challenge our understanding of the past. Maybe these mysteries do not prove that history is hiding some impossible secret. Maybe they reveal something even more fascinating: that ancient civilizations were far more complex, creative, and intelligent than we often imagine. And as technology advances, every discovery brings us closer to answering questions that humanity has asked for centuries. But with every answer comes another mystery waiting in the darkness. Because the ancient world is not silent. It is still speaking. We just have not learned how to fully understand its message. The further we travel into the forgotten corners of the ancient world, the more we realize that history is not a complete story. It is a collection of fragments scattered across deserts, buried beneath oceans, and hidden inside mountains. Every ruin is a message from the past. Every artifact is a clue. And sometimes, the smallest discovery can completely change what we believe about human civilization. Deep beneath the volcanic landscape of Turkey lies one of the most extraordinary underground creations ever discovered. A city hidden beneath the earth, carved not with modern machines, but with simple tools and unimaginable determination. This is Derinkuyu, the underground city of Cappadocia. For centuries, the people living above ground had no idea what existed beneath their feet. Then, in 1963, a local man renovating his home made a shocking discovery. While breaking through a wall in his basement, he uncovered a mysterious passage leading into darkness. What he found beyond that wall was not a small tunnel. It was an entire underground world. Stretching deep beneath the ground, Derinkuyu contained multiple levels of rooms, tunnels, storage areas, churches, kitchens, animal shelters, and ventilation systems. Archaeologists believe the city could have sheltered more than 20,000 people during times of danger. But the greatest mystery is not what was found inside. The mystery is why it was built. The underground city was carved from soft volcanic rock called tuff, a material easy enough to shape but strong enough to survive for thousands of years. Its builders created massive circular stone doors that could be rolled into place from the inside, protecting inhabitants from possible invaders. The city also contained carefully designed air shafts reaching from the surface to the deepest levels. Without these ventilation systems, thousands of people could never have survived underground. But who created such an advanced underground settlement? Some researchers believe the earliest parts of Derinkuyu were built by the Phrygians around the 8th century BC. Later, early Christians expanded the city, using it as a refuge during periods of persecution and conflict. Others suggest that the origins may be even older. The truth remains uncertain. What we do know is that Derinkuyu represents a remarkable achievement of ancient engineering. Imagine thousands of people disappearing beneath the earth, living in complete darkness while armies passed above them. Families raising children, storing food, worshiping, and surviving in a hidden world carved into stone. The city raises a haunting question. How many other underground civilizations remain undiscovered beneath our feet? Because Derinkuyu may not be an isolated wonder. Across the world, ancient people created hidden chambers, tunnels, and secret cities for reasons we still do not fully understand. Perhaps the greatest mysteries of humanity are not always found in giant monuments reaching toward the sky. Sometimes they are buried below the surface, waiting silently for someone to find them. Far away in Lebanon, another ancient mystery stands beneath the open sky. The colossal ruins of Baalbek. Located in the fertile Bekaa Valley, Baalbek was once one of the most impressive sacred sites of the ancient world. The Romans called it Heliopolis, the city of the sun, and transformed it into a monumental religious center. But beneath the Roman structures lies something even older. A massive stone platform built from some of the largest blocks ever used in human construction. Some stones at Baalbek weigh hundreds of tons. The famous trilithon stones are among the largest cut stones ever placed into a structure, each measuring more than 19 meters long and weighing hundreds of tons. The question that has fascinated researchers for generations is simple. How were these enormous stones transported and positioned with ancient technology? The Romans were extraordinary engineers. They built roads, bridges, aqueducts, and cities across an entire empire. But even Roman engineers would have faced enormous challenges moving stones of this size. Some believe the platform was built by earlier civilizations long before Rome arrived. Others argue that ancient engineers possess techniques that have been lost over time. The mystery becomes even deeper because ancient records provide very little explanation about the original construction. Why was such an enormous platform created? Was it purely a religious monument? Was it a symbol of power? Or was there another purpose hidden behind its massive stones? Some theories have gone far beyond archaeology, suggesting impossible explanations involving lost civilizations or even visitors from beyond Earth. While there is no evidence supporting these claims, the fact remains that Baalbek continues to challenge our understanding of ancient construction. The stones themselves are a message from a forgotten age, a reminder that ancient people were capable of achievements we are still struggling to fully explain. But perhaps one of the strangest mysteries of the ancient world comes not from a monument, but from a simple set of markings carved into the earth. The mysterious Phaistos disk. Discovered in 1908 on the Greek island of Crete, the Phaistos disk remains one of archaeology's greatest unsolved puzzles. The small clay disk is covered with symbols arranged in a spiral pattern. Unlike most ancient writings, the symbols were not carved by hand. They were stamped into the clay using individual pieces, creating a form of printing thousands of years before similar techniques appeared elsewhere. The disk dates back more than 3,500 years to the Minoan civilization, one of Europe's earliest advanced societies. The Minoans built magnificent palaces, developed complex trade networks, and created a unique culture centered around the island of Crete. Yet their written language remains only partially understood. The symbols on the Phaistos disk are completely unique. There are images of humans, animals, plants, tools, and strange objects. Researchers have spent decades trying to decode the message. Some believe it is a religious hymn. Others suggest it may be a political document, a poem, or even a record of an ancient ceremony. But no one has been able to prove any interpretation. The disk contains only one known example of this writing system. Without additional texts for comparison, the mystery remains locked. A message created thousands of years ago, waiting for someone to finally understand its meaning. And perhaps that is the most fascinating part of ancient mysteries. They are not just about forgotten objects. They are about forgotten voices. People who lived, created, dreamed, and struggled thousands of years before us. Their stories are still hidden in stone, clay, and forgotten landscapes. Another mystery comes from the remote deserts of Egypt. The Serapeum of Saqqara. Deep beneath the sands near the ancient city of Memphis lies a massive underground complex containing enormous stone sarcophagi. But these were not built for humans. They were created for the sacred Apis bulls of ancient Egypt. The Apis bull was considered a living manifestation of the god Ptah. When one of these sacred animals died, it was carefully preserved and buried with great ceremony. The underground chambers of the Serapeum contain massive granite coffins, some weighing more than 60 tons. The precision of these containers has amazed researchers. The granite was transported from distant regions, shaped with incredible accuracy, and placed deep underground. But many questions remain. How were these enormous boxes moved through narrow underground tunnels? What tools were used to achieve such precise craftsmanship? And why did the Egyptians dedicate such enormous resources to burying animals? The answer reveals something important about ancient civilizations. Their achievements were not only about survival, they were about belief. They built monuments not simply because they could, but because they represented something greater than themselves. The underground cities, impossible stone platforms, undeciphered writings, and sacred tombs all tell the same story. Human beings have always searched for meaning. Across thousands of years, civilizations have risen and disappeared, but their questions remain connected to ours. Who are we? Where did we come from? And how much of the past is still hidden from us? The ancient world is filled with mysteries that may never have simple answers. but perhaps that is why they continue to fascinate us. Because every mystery is an invitation to explore deeper, to question what we know, and to uncover the secrets still waiting beneath the surface of history. The ancient world was not a world of simple people living simple lives. Beneath the ruins, forgotten cities, and mysterious artifacts lies evidence of imagination, engineering, and knowledge that continues to surprise modern researchers. Every discovery forces us to reconsider what humanity was capable of thousands of years ago. But some mysteries are different. They do not simply challenge our understanding of ancient technology. They challenge our understanding of time itself. Across the planet, there are places where the past seems impossible to explain. Structures built with precision beyond what we expect, civilizations that appeared to rise suddenly, and artifacts that seem to carry knowledge far ahead of their era. One of these mysteries stands in southern Turkey, a place that changed everything we thought we knew about human history. Göbekli Tepe. For decades, archaeologists believed that large monuments and organized societies only appeared after humans developed agriculture. The traditional story suggested that people first settled into farming communities, then created cities, religions, and monumental architecture. But Göbekli Tepe destroyed that timeline. Hidden beneath a lonely hill near the modern city of Şanlıurfa, archaeologists discovered a massive stone complex built more than 11,000 years ago. This means it was created before the invention of writing, before cities, and before the rise of the civilizations we usually associate with advanced societies. The builders were hunter-gatherers, people who were supposedly living in small groups, following animals across the landscape. Yet they somehow created enormous circular structures using carefully carved limestone pillars weighing several tons. The stones are decorated with detailed images of animals: foxes, snakes, birds, wild boars, insects. Some pillars even appear to represent human-like figures with carved arms and hands. The level of planning required to build Göbekli Tepe is extraordinary. Hundreds of people would have been needed to quarry, transport, and position these massive stones. But why would hunter-gatherers create such a monumental site? What purpose did it serve? Was it a temple? A ceremonial gathering place? A place where ancient people connected with their beliefs? No one knows. Perhaps the greatest mystery is not how they built it. The mystery is how they imagined it. Göbekli Tepe suggests that human creativity and spirituality may have existed long before farming and civilization. Maybe religion did not emerge after cities. Maybe religion helped create them. The discovery forced archaeologists to rewrite the beginning of civilization. And yet, Göbekli Tepe may not be the only ancient site hiding a forgotten chapter of human history. Deep in the deserts of Egypt lies another mystery that has fascinated humanity for thousands of years: the Great Pyramid of Giza. The pyramid is one of the most famous structures ever created. Built around 4,500 years ago during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, it was the tallest human-made structure on Earth for nearly 4,000 years. Its scale alone is difficult to comprehend. Millions of limestone blocks were cut, transported, and assembled into a structure covering more than 13 acres. The precision is astonishing. The pyramid's sides are aligned almost perfectly with the four cardinal directions. Its construction required advanced knowledge of mathematics, astronomy, and engineering. But many questions remain unanswered. How exactly was it built? The ancient Egyptians left behind records of their civilization, but they never provided a complete explanation of how the Great Pyramid was constructed. Archaeologists have proposed many theories. Some suggest massive ramps were used. Others believe a combination of ramps, levers, and human effort achieved the impossible. But the exact method remains debated. Another mystery surrounds the pyramid's hidden chambers. In recent years, modern technology has revealed previously unknown spaces deep inside the structure. Using cosmic particles called muons, scientists detected hidden areas that had remained untouched for thousands of years. What lies inside these mysterious spaces? Are they empty? Or do they contain secrets waiting to be discovered? The Great Pyramid continues to stand as a monument not only to ancient Egypt, but to human ambition itself. But Egypt's mysteries extend far beyond pyramids. One of the most mysterious discoveries ever made is hidden beneath the ancient city of Alexandria, the lost tomb of Alexander the Great. Alexander was one of history's greatest conquerors. Before his death at only 32 years old, he had created an empire stretching from Greece to India. After his death in 323 BC, his body became one of the most important relics of the ancient world. According to historical accounts, his remains were placed in a magnificent tomb in Alexandria. For centuries, kings, emperors, and travelers searched for it. Roman leaders reportedly visited the tomb, including Julius Caesar and Augustus. But then, sometime in late antiquity, the tomb disappeared. Its location was forgotten. Today, despite countless searches, no one knows where Alexander the Great was buried. Some believe it lies beneath modern Alexandria. Others suggest earthquakes, rising seas, and urban development destroyed the remains. The discovery of Alexander's tomb would be one of the greatest archaeological events in history. A single discovery that could reveal priceless information about the ancient world. But for now, the final resting place of one of history's most famous figures remains hidden. Another ancient mystery comes from the Pacific Ocean, a mysterious civilization that created hundreds of enormous stone statues. Easter Island. Known to its original inhabitants as Rapa Nui, this remote island is famous for the massive Moai statues standing across its landscape. For centuries, explorers wondered how a small island population created such enormous monuments. Some statues reach more than 10 meters tall and weigh many tons. How were they carved? How were they transported? And why were they built? The traditional explanation suggests that the statues represented ancestors and powerful chiefs. The Rapa Nui people carved them from volcanic stone and moved them across the island using methods involving ropes, wooden tools, and human cooperation. But another mystery remains. What happened to the civilization that created them? When Europeans arrived in 1722, they found a population struggling to survive. The island had lost much of its forest. Many theories suggest that overuse of resources caused environmental collapse. Others argue that European diseases and slave raids played a major role. The truth is likely more complicated. The story of Rapa Nui is not simply about destruction. It is about adaptation, survival, and the consequences of environmental change. The Moai continue to stand silently, watching over an island that remembers a civilization almost lost to time. But perhaps one of the strangest ancient mysteries comes from a place where history and legend become almost impossible to separate: the city of Atlantis. For more than 2,000 years, people have searched for the lost civilization described by the Greek philosopher Plato. According to Plato's writings, Atlantis was a powerful island kingdom that existed thousands of years before his time. It was wealthy, advanced, and eventually destroyed by a catastrophic disaster. But was Atlantis a real place? Or was it simply a philosophical story created by Plato? Historians remain divided. Some believe Atlantis was inspired by real events, such as the destruction of the Minoan civilization on the island of Crete after a massive volcanic eruption. Others believe it was entirely fictional. Despite centuries of searching, no confirmed evidence of Atlantis has ever been found. Yet the idea continues to capture human imagination. Because the possibility of a lost civilization disappearing beneath the waves feels almost too powerful to ignore. What if other advanced societies existed before recorded history? What if entire chapters of human civilization have been erased by natural disasters? The ancient world is full of reminders that our knowledge is incomplete. Every excavation, every scan beneath the earth, and every newly discovered artifact reveals that history is far larger than we once believed. From Göbekli Tepe's impossible beginning to the missing tomb of Alexander the Great, from the silent Moai of Rapa Nui to the legend of Atlantis, these mysteries connect us with people who lived thousands of years before us. They remind us that humanity has always searched, created, explored, and questioned. And somewhere beneath the earth, beneath the oceans, and inside forgotten ruins, countless secrets are still waiting. Because the greatest mysteries of the ancient world are not only about the past, they are about what we have yet to discover. The story of the ancient world is a story written in fragments. Across deserts, mountains, oceans, and forgotten landscapes, humanity has left behind clues of civilizations that once flourished, created, and disappeared. Some mysteries have been solved through archaeology and science, while others remain trapped between legend and reality. But the greatest mysteries are not always the ones buried deepest. Sometimes, they are the ones standing before us, challenging everything we thought we understood about the past. For thousands of years, humans have looked at ancient monuments and wondered the same thing. How were they built? Why were they created? And what secrets did their builders take with them when they vanished? One of the most mysterious places on Earth lies high in the mountains of Peru, Machu Picchu. Hidden among the clouds of the Andes, this ancient city remained unknown to much of the outside world until the early 20th century. Built by the Inca civilization during the 15th century, Machu Picchu represents one of the greatest achievements of ancient engineering. The city sits on a narrow mountain ridge surrounded by steep valleys and dangerous terrain. Yet the Inca transformed this impossible location into a thriving settlement. They created agricultural terraces that prevented erosion and allowed crops to grow on the mountainside. They constructed temples, homes, and ceremonial areas using precisely cut stones fitted together without mortar. Even today, many of the stones remain perfectly aligned after centuries of earthquakes and harsh weather. But the purpose of Machu Picchu remains debated. Was it a royal estate for the Inca emperor? A religious sanctuary? An astronomical center? Or perhaps all of these at once? The mystery deepens because the city was abandoned shortly after the arrival of the Spanish in South America. Unlike many Inca sites, Machu Picchu was never destroyed by invading armies. Instead, it was simply forgotten. The jungle slowly covered its walls. The mountains protected its secrets. And for centuries, it remained a lost world above the clouds. The discovery of Machu Picchu reminded the world that entire chapters of history could disappear, waiting silently for someone to uncover them. But not every lost civilization disappeared in the mountains. Some vanished beneath the waves. Near the coast of Japan lies one of the most mysterious underwater structures ever discovered: the Yonaguni Monument. In 1985, divers exploring the waters near Yonaguni Island discovered a massive stone formation resting beneath the ocean. The structure contains enormous flat surfaces, sharp edges, terraces, and what appear to be stair-like formations. Some researchers believe it is a natural rock formation shaped by erosion. Others argue that its unusual geometry suggests it may have been modified by humans thousands of years ago. If it is artificial, the implications would be extraordinary. The structure would suggest that an advanced society existed in the region during a time when many historians believed such construction was impossible. But without clear evidence, the mystery remains unresolved. The Yonaguni Monument represents one of archaeology's greatest debates. Where does nature end and human creation begin? This question appears again and again throughout history. Because ancient people often achieved things we underestimate. They studied the stars. They measured the movement of planets. They created cities, temples, and monuments that continue to survive thousands of years later. One extraordinary example is the Antikythera mechanism. Discovered inside a shipwreck near the Greek island of Antikythera in 1901, this strange bronze device changed our understanding of ancient technology. At first, researchers believed it was simply an unusual piece of machinery. But further studies revealed something incredible. The mechanism was an ancient astronomical computer. Created more than 2,000 years ago, it contained dozens of carefully designed gears that could predict the movement of celestial bodies, track lunar cycles, and calculate astronomical events. Nothing like it was known to exist from the ancient world. The complexity of the device was so advanced that historians had to reconsider the technological abilities of ancient Greece. Who created such a sophisticated machine? How did they develop this knowledge? And why is there no surviving technology similar to it? The Antikythera mechanism appears almost like a message from a forgotten age, a reminder that ancient knowledge was sometimes far more advanced than we imagine. But perhaps the most haunting mysteries are not about technology. They are about civilizations that disappeared. One of the greatest examples is the Maya civilization. For centuries, the Maya built magnificent cities across Mesoamerica. They created enormous pyramids, developed complex calendars, studied astronomy, and created one of the most sophisticated writing systems in the ancient Americas. Cities like Tikal and Calakmul became powerful centers of culture and knowledge. Yet around the 9th century AD, many major Maya cities began to decline. Temples were abandoned. Construction stopped. Populations disappeared. For decades, people wondered what caused the collapse. Some theories blamed warfare. Others suggested drought, environmental problems, or political instability. Modern research indicates that climate change and prolonged drought may have played an important role. But the Maya did not vanish. Their descendants still live today, preserving languages and traditions that survived centuries of change. The mystery is not why the Maya disappeared. The mystery is how such a powerful civilization transformed and adapted after losing its great cities. The ancient world teaches us that civilizations are not simply destroyed. They evolve. They change. They leave behind stories that continue long after their monuments fall. Another forgotten mystery comes from the heart of Africa, Great Zimbabwe. Hidden among the hills of modern Zimbabwe are the remains of a massive stone city built between the 11th and 15th centuries. The name itself means houses of stone. At its peak, Great Zimbabwe was a powerful trading center connected with distant regions across Africa and beyond. Archaeologists have discovered evidence of trade with places as far away as China and Persia. The city's enormous stone walls were built without mortar, using carefully arranged blocks that have survived for centuries. Yet when European explorers first encountered Great Zimbabwe, many refused to believe that local African civilizations could have created such a remarkable achievement. For decades, false theories claimed that outsiders must have built it. But archaeology proved the truth. Great Zimbabwe was created by the ancestors of the Shona people, a civilization with its own achievements, culture, and history. The story of Great Zimbabwe is not only an archaeological mystery, it is also a reminder that history can be shaped by misunderstanding. For centuries, some achievements were ignored simply because people refused to believe who created them. But the truth eventually survives. Stone remembers. Artifacts remember. The earth remembers. And every discovery brings forgotten voices back into the story of humanity. From the hidden chambers of ancient Egypt to lost cities beneath oceans, from mysterious machines to impossible monuments, the ancient world continues to reveal secrets. But perhaps the greatest mystery is not what ancient civilizations knew. It is how much we still do not know. There are thousands of unexplored archaeological sites across the planet. Ancient settlements remain buried beneath forests, deserts, and modern cities. Shipwrecks lie untouched beneath the oceans. Unknown languages wait to be translated, and countless artifacts remain hidden beneath layers of time. The future discoveries of archaeology may completely transform our understanding of human history, because history is not finished. It is still being written. Every excavation reveals a new chapter. Every artifact tells a forgotten story. Every mystery reminds us that humanity's journey is far older, deeper, and more fascinating than we ever imagined. The ancient world is not a distant place lost forever. It is a shadow that still surrounds us. A world of unanswered questions. A world of forgotten civilizations. A world waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed these mysterious stories, share your thoughts below and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss our next explorations.